Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got one for you today. Debbie McGee, how are you?
I couldn't be better, Alex, is how I'd describe myself today.
Here's the thing, you see. Not only are you lovely, but you're also delicious. And you're going to be in Pantomime this year again. And the last time we spoke was last year. And you were a bit trepidatious because, of course, you hadn't got Paul with you. How was it?
I had a great time. Yes, I opened in the pantomime the day after I finished the Strictly final, so it was all a bit mad. I don't know when I learnt my lines, but they did go in. So this year it's a bit more of a luxury. I was in York last year, so I'm in Wolverhampton at the Grand Theatre this year in Sleeping Beauty, and so I've had a bit more time to learn my lines and songs. So I'm actually going there tomorrow, so I'm really looking forward to it.
I always say to you when we speak, how are you? And I mean, how are you?
I am really good, Alex. Yes. Life is treating me very well and I'm coping extremely well. So I'm really starting to enjoy myself.
The love and affection that this country has for you and Paul was extraordinary. And since then, you've gone on to sort of reinvent yourself, and rightly so, because we love to see you. And I think Strictly was a point where even you realised, my God, people adore us.
Well, I know, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, it still feels like a dream. And everywhere I go, people are still being very nice to me and still talking about Strictly. And I thought it would have all died down with the new series starting, but it hasn't at all. So I've just had the most wonderful year.
Last week I had Stephen Mulhern on and we were talking about his role models, and the first name that came up was Paul and Debbie. It is amazing how many people of my generation you've influenced. It's incredible. Yeah,
I think, we were on the screens for a very long time when there was only a few channels. So, so everybody watched. I mean, our viewing figures were higher than X Factor or even Strictly on a Saturday night. And those people have now grown up and, they spent every Saturday night with us. So it was just, it's lovely. It's a great, warm, loving feeling.
And I love that you kept it classy. I mean, it was before the days of Celebrity Big Brother and the jungle eating penis and all that stuff. I mean, you sort of had your show and that was what you were defined for. That's beautiful in a way.
I think, because when I came into show business, the paparazzi weren't trying to get you in your curlers, for want of a better description. If you were in the movies, whoever you were working for, be it MGM or Paramount, that if you were having a photo shoot for a press release, they dressed you. And when I first went into television, they made you look as good as possible before they put you on the screen. And then it just all of a sudden changed, where reality shows and things, which are great because, life does change and move on. But it's almost like the opposite now, that everybody wants to catch you at your worst and then you're real. So I've had to learn how to be real.
And I suppose the other thing is people want to be seen at their worst. I was doing warm-up for Loose Women last week, and one of the girls deliberately came in without doing hair and makeup to prove that she was willing to be on TV. And it's an extraordinary time, isn't it, that's somehow liberating?
I know. Yeah, I'm not very good at that. Although I'm sure you have days where you don't put your lipstick on, Alex.
That's right, or my frock, to be honest with you. I am done my hair for you this morning, Debbie, I've got to be honest. I didn't think it would matter. You're not offended, are you?
No, not in any way. I just wish I had a webcam.
Since that court case, I'm not allowed to do that anymore, so we've had to put those back in the cupboard. Hey, listen, I tell you why we're talking today is these new fuel payments that are around for older people, of course, are essential. People really rely on them. But there's a new debate raging that they should be available for everybody, because just because you're old doesn't mean you can afford your gas bill, does it?
No, absolutely. And Empower have started this charity 3 years ago where they've been helping people with fuel payments. And I've got involved because I was involved with food banks from early on. So I know that the people that go to food banks are referred from a GP, social services. They're not necessarily people who are on benefits. They're people you wouldn't expect to be in trouble and be in a crisis and not be able to keep their children warm or cook for them because they can't afford to put the cooker on. And so the charity have done lots of research now and found out that, there really are a lot of people out there that need help. So, and that lots of people in the UK would like the fuel payments to go to everybody in need. But of course, that doesn't happen overnight. So the fuel bank are trying to help people now. And they've also talked to a lot of people who get the fuel payment, who you get that if you were born before the 5th of August 1953, that say, well, we don't really need it. We spend it on Christmas presents and things. That would you like to donate a little bit of it or all of it or whatever you want to the fuel bank? Or if you're like me and you're younger and you don't get it, but you would like to make a donation and help. And then they're making sure with the food banks that it goes to the right people that really need the help. You know, we all hate being cold and we all hate being hungry. And I personally just can't bear to think of anybody being cold and hungry, and especially not near Christmas.
Yeah, it's incredible. And you are right, there is a double standard that a millionaire who's over 60 would get it, whereas somebody who's 20 and can't afford to eat wouldn't. It's silly, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and these aren't, the people I've been at the food banks when the people are coming to get their little parcels and things. And, these aren't people that are alcoholics that spend all their money up the pub and not on their fuel bill. It isn't about that. They've all been means tested or, through social services or their GP. They know that these people are in dire straits. And it's not just a handout. At all these centres, they've got counsellors and people helping you get another job if you've been made redundant, and helping through. Some people because of a tragedy in their family can't function properly and they've let everything go, and that's why they're in terrible need, and they get help, and that's what I love about it all. It's the whole picture. It's not just giving, it's a lot more than that.
And it's interesting, isn't it, because there's those sneery articles in the Daily Mail that say there are people queuing at food banks with iPhones, but these have got to be in the minority. The work that these people are doing to feed people at their most desperate time, you've only got to applaud it because it is beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I've actually been to the food banks and I know how they work, and what I didn't understand until I became involved with them. And I would have thought, just like those other people, if they can afford an iPhone and a car, what are they doing queuing up, for a food parcel? But what happens is that you could be absolutely fine. Well, it's Friday, say. Well, your boss could make you redundant today and you're not due any redundancy money, or you're not going to get it for another couple of months. And you've got bills to pay. And how do you pay your mortgage, buy food, all the bills, your car? You can't just go and give your car back if it's on a lease. You can't just give your iPhone in if you've got a contract. And also you do need to be able to communicate. And so, but you need to feed your family, on Monday your food will have run out and you haven't got a penny. And there are people in that position. And, it's easy to close your eyes to it. But if you're out there, go to a food bank then and talk to the people that are queuing, because they've all been referred. They're not just queuing up. They're not just anybody. If you're just somebody that calls in and asks for help, you don't get it. You have to go back to your GP or the social services. And they really, really are in crisis. They're desperate people.
And 34% admitting that they don't need this winter fuel payment is ridiculous. We've got to look at the system, and congratulations to Empower Foundation. I hadn't heard of it before today, so thank you for bringing that to our attention. I was in Las Vegas in the summer talking about you and Paul, and they all asked the same question. Are you still doing magic? Have you done a trick since Paul passed away?
I've done one trick that I did on a canal boat programme for Channel 5, because I was on a boat for 2.5 weeks with Nigel Havers, Simon Callow and Lorraine. And by the end of it, we were all such close buddies, and Nigel really loved magic, and I'd taken a deck of cards with me. So that was the first trick I'd done, and that was 6 months after Paul died. It still is an area I'm getting there, but I can't quite go down yet. But I am, doing a little bit in my panto. And so I'm taking baby steps back into magic.
And of course, Panto is magical, and the way they do it at Kudos is so beautiful. You've got a great theatre this year at Wolverhampton. I guess for you to see that warmth of the audience takes you back to the heyday of the 80s when you were packing theatres. It's the same thing, isn't it?
It's exactly so. When I did Strictly, it was just like doing the magic show in the 80s. You know, it was a Saturday night programme, and it just felt the same in the same sort of studio. And the love we get from the public has always been something I so appreciate.
Yeah. And of course, as we look at Strictly this year, are you watching it? Are you sort of captivated by it in 2018?
I totally am. And I do a podcast on a Monday for The Telegraph covering Strictly. And yeah, I'm totally. Now I know, especially I've always been a fan, but of course now I know everybody, including, all the cameramen are my friends and the crew. So, I'm looking out for people and different things, and knowing the process as well. Knowing what people go through in that programme.
Debbie McGee, it's always lovely to talk to you. Have a wonderful Christmas and Panto season in Wolverhampton, and you can find out more by going to the Empower Foundation. Lovely to talk to you.
OK, and npower.com/winterfuel is the website. Thank you. Bye.